Yeah, as trainers, we kind of keep little log books. So the clients we train one-on-one, we certainly know, okay, so Jim did the lunges with the press just fine. Let's try to take it up a notch. Or, we're going to try to increase the weight. When we're training people in groups, which we do quite a bit, we try to keep track of which client was ready to progress to the next level. So our clients are always going from point A to point B to point C, sort of that mentality of we're going to take it from beginner to beginner level 2 to beginner level 3 to
Sure.
intermediate to advanced to, hey, I can work out with anybody. So that's kind of our focus. And so as trainers, we're always trying to keep track. Clients also have sort of workout logs that they keep track of in a file system, because our clients come in and work out on their own as well.
That's really cool, man. That kind of testifies to the point of like keeping a journal is so important. Just so that you can look back and say like, okay, here's where I was, here's where I am now. That way you can at least justify your progress in terms of your strength and your movement and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as I tell people, if you don't track your progress, you're not going to make any. I mean, you have got to keep track of your progress, so you see where you were and where you're going. It's sort of, I mean, we have clients come in that they can't leg press their own body weight, and I say it's no wonder you're having trouble getting out of a chair. If you can't push your own body weight, you're going to have a hard time getting off the toilet. And I usually tell most of the women, I want you to be able to leg press twice your body weight. And they always sort of look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, well, look, you want to be able to climb stairs without a railing. So to lift yourself up a stair, you have to lift your body weight with one leg, right? I've never seen anybody hop upstairs. So then they're sort of like, that makes sense. So you have to be able to leg press twice your weight. And that is a simple progress benchmark that we can give a lot of clients. We give them a lot of other simple things too, like how much weight they should be able to press over their head and just a variety of different movements. So they sort of realize, wow, I can get a lot stronger, and these guys are going to help me a lot.
That's good, man. I like how you set up those benchmarks, and I really like how you talked about the leg press a little bit. As obviously we think of it as a non-functional exercise until we realize that you're not even strong enough to do a squat. Then it
Right.
becomes a functional exercise, and I can appreciate that
Yeah.
having had 4 knee surgeries and gotten to the point where
Yeah.
I couldn't do a squat without
Right.
searing pain, but I could leg press 20 pounds, and then 30, and then 40, and so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
So,
That's where I sort of chuckle at trainers, that are so hardcore, like, oh, we got to do everything functional. Which, I mean, I agree with that. But if your client can't squat, if your client can't get out of a chair, then saying, well, you should only squat because that's the most functional thing. It's like, but they can't. So let's start them with something that can progress them to squatting. So I always say there are a place from time to time for seated activities. There is a place for certain movements that help you progress to more functional.
right. It's
It
just
would
a
be
stepping stone.
incorrect to say, well, the leg press is the best exercise. It's like, no, I mean, obviously the goal is to get to squatting, right? I mean, I always tell people nobody wants somebody to help them get on and off the toilet. That's pretty much a universal fitness goal, right? So the reality is you want to be able to squat. So
Awesome. Well, I'm interested in this question, Dan. So I get this question a lot. I've got a lot of old timers in the Garage Warrior community, and they ask me all kinds of questions about functional fitness and this and that. One that comes up quite a bit is the heart, is strengthening the heart. And since I'm sure you've done a lot of research on this, I'm interested in your take on it, because we've got one side of people saying, long, slow cardio is great for the heart, and we got the other side of people saying high intensity. And then, of course, they're both saying that the other people are wrong and you're going to die if you do either one. So
yeah.
what's your take on that?
Well, did you see the latest research study that came out on runners?
I have seen some research. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but yeah.
Well, it just came out last week. It talked about how people that run too much actually die earlier, and so
Whew.
it's sort of another study that says, hey, if you do a lot of long, slow, and running's not necessarily slow cardio, but I mean it's long monotonous cardio, right? If you log miles and miles, and the research study basically said the people that run the most actually die earlier. So I'm in good shape because I run the least. So I don't
Zero.
I don't run at all. I run zero. So unless I'm playing sports with the kids, but the research is pretty clear. walking is actually almost universally a protective activity.
Right.
So I encourage people to walk. I encourage people to hike. I encourage people to do those kind of leisure activities. Those things are not going to maintain really physical function or fitness. And so, in terms of cardiovascular health, you need to be doing some intense activities. You need to be getting some vigorous. The research over and over shows you need to be getting some vigorous activity, whether it's through circuit strength training or some kind of interval cardio. It needs to be the short burst, high intense stuff. And people can do that with hiking or walking if they want to. I like them to do functional movement, do get their heart rate up. But the long, slow, monotonous cardio is really not the way to go. But I always caution people, because if you're a walker and you're taking a leisurely walk for 2 to 3 miles a day, keep doing that. That's not doing you any harm. In fact, it's probably really good for your soul. It's probably really good for your mind. It's probably really good just relaxation. Our body needs to move. We spend way too much time sitting in this country. By and large, in the U.S., we spend more time sitting than any other country, which is a problem. So get up and move. If you're walking, keep doing that. But if you're really thinking about keeping your heart healthy, you've got to get some kind of vigorous, intense activity, even if it's just 10 to 20 minutes. So it doesn't have to be a huge amount of time. Short bursts are going to be better.
Yeah. Okay. It's fantastic to hear, because I hear a lot of people too concerned about their heart exploding with short bursts and advocating long duration cardio instead.
No,
And
no, 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 no. Definitely not. In fact, we do real high intense intervals with our older clients over 75. And high intense is relative. What's high intense for a 75-year-old might not be intense enough for you or I, but in some cases it is, depending on how fit they are.
right.
And it's that high intensity that actually helps our heart muscles stay strong. It helps it endure when we have to do something strenuous. In fact, I sometimes wonder, people must not be thinking about, it's a lot of times a strenuous, strainful activity that leads to a heart attack. Well, if you were training your heart, you'd probably realize, I have some chest pain. My heart doesn't feel quite right. So you'd go get that checked out with a doctor, and get it paid attention to before you go do something beyond your ability and have a massive heart attack. So again, the research is pretty clear. Vigorous is a lot more beneficial than long, slow, monotonous.
Yeah, the way I always justified it to my clients was, hey, if I wanted my bicep to grow, would I grab a weight that I could do for 10 reps and only do 7 with it? Or would I grab it for a weight that I could do for 10 reps and do 10 or maybe even 11 with it, right? And they said,
Yeah,
well, obviously, you'd want to do the 10 or 11 reps. I said, well, your heart's just a muscle, and everybody's telling you to go at 70%, right? And what I'm telling you
right.
is, let's take it up to that 90, 100% in order to get that muscle to improve and grow. So that was
Yep.
my justification behind it. Well, Dan, we're just about out of time here. I want to ask you 2 quick questions. The first is, you're obviously a successful guy. You're one of the few PhDs I've had on the podcast. And I think of one of only 2 PhDs I've had on the podcast. So that's congrats to you. Before we got on the call, you were talking about your speaking engagements, your online business, your boot camps, your private training, and just doing so much. So what's your secret to success, my man?
Ooh, my secret to success. I shared this with some people earlier today that were here checking out my facility, and I think it probably could be summed up as simple as, we really have decided and committed to defining our clients as people that are under our care and our protection. So if you hear me use the word customer or client or people that are working with us, what we really think of and how we define them is people that are under our care and protection, which means we need to know why they're not here. We need to know what exactly they need. We need to know what their goals are. I mean, they are people we're looking after and we're caring for. And so, to me, I think that has set us apart as a facility that cares, and has really helped us help thousands of people now.
Wow, yeah, that's fantastic. That does really set you apart by taking a focus and caring on people's goals. Well, Dan, I just wanted to give you a quick opportunity, because I recently came across your program, which I think is just absolutely brilliant. And why don't you give our listeners just a little snippet into what your new program's all about and who it's for?
Sure. Yeah, well, we sort of cleverly decided to call it the Never Grow Old Fitness Program because we know, the reality is nobody really wants to grow old, right? The funny thing is some people don't mind getting older age-wise. Like I don't mind that I'm approaching 40. I think people don't really think much about turning 65 anymore, but nobody really wants to grow old. So
Right.
we developed this program called the Never Grow Old Fitness Program, and it's got beginner level 2, intermediate, and advanced workouts because we know some people at 55 haven't worked out in 30 years. Other people at 55 are in really good shape. They just need more functional strength, more functional movements. And so it's all the functional movements we've been talking about, anywhere from 10 to 12 exercises. It's all video follow along, plus a manual. So you're going to get tons of workouts that you can do at home. You can do them on your iPhone, in the gym, wherever you want to go. And so it's a great program. It's really simple. In fact, what we've decided is, look, we've trained over 2,000 clients now over the last 10 years. And unless you want to come to West Lafayette, Indiana, you can't train with us. So we decided to make our training program available to everyone, everywhere. You can train with us in your gym, in your home, in your hotel room, literally whenever you want. And so I know you're going to probably share with people where they can find it, give them a link, but it really is a great program. We're really excited about it because we know we can help lots and lots of people live really, really well, robust, functional lives. Some of our clients in their 70s have gone on crazy adventures like hiking on glaciers in Patagonia. We had another couple clients that went to Antarctica. We've had a client hike Mount Kilimanjaro with his daughter. Just an 81-year-old lady with Parkinson's went to the Galapagos Islands. And just a lot of exciting kind of bucket list things. Well, our fitness program is designed so people can continue to do all the exciting things they want to do.
That's very cool, man. That's awesome. So anybody listening to this call, if you guys enjoyed this talk with Dan, if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, then check out the link I'll post below the show. You guys can check out Dan's functional fitness program. Thanks so much for your time, Dan.
Yep.